Recordings in progress. We have additions or deletions to the agenda. Is there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
We did get a correspondence today, Rich. Did you see that in your email?
Mm-hmm. But I think it fits under the budget.
Okay, cool.
Okay, if there's no additions or deletions to the agenda, members of the public, run around the room. Mr. Block?
I'm good, Rich, thank you.
Okay, Kara? Kara Connolly? Going once? Going twice? Alyssa's staff, right? Mm-hmm. Francesca, Bridget, Anne Marie staff, Scott Salway?
Yep, we're good.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Tricia is staff. And Janet Rivers?
She's staff too.
Oh.
She does. Well, yes, yes.
Janet, I'll let you do staff first, or public, whichever one you want.
I'm okay.
Okay. Tricia?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Trish Clark, are you all set for members of the staff?
I'm all set, thank you.
Anne Marie?
I'm all set, thank you.
Bridget, you're next on the screen.
I have nothing to add, thank you.
Thank you. And Alyssa? Did you Alyssa already? No.
I'm all set, thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Hope everybody's warm at home. I think a lot of you here, for old business, we have, the first thing is survey results and IB committee. So I'm going to turn that over to you since you were kind of helping run that.
Yeah, thank you. So in the board packet, everyone has just the facts paper. So,
Oh, you know what? Maybe just tell us who you are because I didn't
Sure.
say that, did I?
Yeah. Renee Merluzzi, I'm the director of curriculum, and I have been sort of leading the way for the IB committee and facilitating that process. So yeah, just the facts paper was from the survey that we sent out to parents, community members, board members, and school staff. We met as a committee not too long ago to review the data. We provided a synopsis of the data and stuck to the committee is not to give a recommendation, is just to share the data. So that I feel like we did a good job here. So I'll just run through it. So our first survey question was who answered the survey. So we had 29 parents or caregivers, 5 school staff, and then 5 community and school board members. So the reason this is broken apart is because we really wanted to keep anonymity with the survey, and there was only 1 school board member that took the survey. And so if I was to separate that out, it would be maybe easily identifiable about who took the survey. So school board member group and community have been combined together because it was a small amount. How many people moved to Dover School for the IB program was the second question. So, and we provided some graphs there as well, so you can actually see the breakdown. 12 parents or caregivers said yes, they did. 7 parents or caregivers said no. And there was a secondary question to this first question, which was that choice because of IB? And within that, 10 parents and caregivers responded that they did not choose residence based on the school. So that's where the no from the first question and that group match up with their percentages there.
That's still a pretty high percentage though. I mean, I know we're not talking hundreds and thousands of people, but it's still, 12 saying yes that they moved to Dover because of the IB, and 19 saying either no or did not respond or did not choose. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's
so it's about the
Yeah.
yeses are 41.4% and the no's combined there with the not because of IB
It's
is
about
like
55%,
58%,
yeah.
right? There was, the third question was about the aspects of education that people felt were important. So 1 being the least important, 5 being the most important. And so I listed them from top to bottom. Mathematics, early literacy.
Can you just remind us of how many surveys went out and how many were answered?
There was 1 survey that went out.
Remember, we
No.
didn't mail it to people directly. It was that went out on the, through
Oh,
the
it didn't go, I
schools.
thought it went out to, I thought we did
It went
send
to
it.
the towns sent out to their systems. Their
Through the
community
system.
But it's all, it was all over internet. There was no like
I
mail
thought we
copy.
did, that must have been different survey. I thought we did send that out. Sorry, my
Yeah,
bad.
that's okay. So mathematics, early literacy, and vertical alignment, which just means consistency across like pre-K to 5, going up the grade levels. Those were the top 3 from people that answered the survey, which I thought it was important to highlight that those top 3 are not necessarily evident within the PYP IB program. But then the rest of the list, that lists cross-cultural connections, inquiry-based learning, service learning, global citizenship, mastery of standards, summative assessments, and learner attributes. All of those, except for mastery of standards, would be like included within the IB program.
And again, those seem like
And they're
really
not that
tough.
off from the top one, so it's not
Yeah.
really that, I didn't feel like it was that big of a difference.
Yeah, and that's not to say that those aren't evident in our other curriculum either. It's just they're evident in the IB program. Yep.
No, I mean, that, I'm surprised that there wasn't more separation in there.
And then there's the graph on that second top page to show.
Well, and actually, Richard, I mean, what's interesting about that is that these are all good things, right? Everyone
Right.
thinks everything's important.
Yeah.
That's the hard part about this, because you're trying to compare them, but they're all important. So everyone just puts them as 4s or 5s, and so the difference isn't very big.
Right. It's a difference of maybe somebody put a
Yeah.
5 on one thing and 4s on everything
Yeah,
else,
exactly.
just, yeah.
If we had asked people to rank order them, we might have gotten different
But
response.
again, with a smaller group and such a large number of attributes, I
Yeah.
mean, it's
It's
that's,
hard to do that. Yeah,
it's probably, no matter how you rank them, they're gonna be fairly close.
yeah, they're all, like I said, they're all important, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe if you asked everybody to give the top one, it would be interesting to see. But again, I mean, it was, we did the best we can.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. So,
Then the next question, how much do you feel IB sets apart Dover School apart from typical schools? 14 responses positively supported IB and think it makes Dover School unique. 9 of them were neutral or stated that it depends on how it was implemented if it was effective. 11 responses viewed it as negative for various reasons. So through the comments, there was talk about the cost, several comments said something about lack of community knowledge of IB. So just people not knowing really what it is, district requirements and other curriculum fitting the needs of the kids. So those were part of those comments. And 5 people did not respond to the question. And there's the pie chart for that as well. Next question was, how much do you value the PYP program? Which was a 1 to 6 scale, 1 being least, 6 being the most. All 39 people answered the question, so total of how many people took the survey. 13 people rated a 6, the top score, with 11 parents, 1 community member, and 1 other. So for this question, the other means staff and school board members lumped together so that it was not identifiable for people. 7 people rated a 5, 6 parents and 1 other. 4 people rated a 4, 3 parents and 1 other. 5 people rated a 3, 2 parents, 1 community member, and 2 others. 3 people rated a 2, 2 parents and 1 other. And then 7 people rated a 1, 5 parents and 2 community members.
silence. I guess let's move on.
I'm gonna give appropriate wait time here.
No, I pulled one apart just because I wanted to compare, like, these last 2 questions to the questions about people who, moved here because of that, or who's, supported it.
Mhm.
And it's almost, there's some similarities, I think.
Yep.
It would almost be cool if we could see who answered yes on the first one, and then who answered yes, they moved here, and then how their answers related with, does it set it apart, and how much do you value it? It'd be kind of interesting to see how they carried through.
Yeah, the consistency of their answers.
Well,
the
yeah, and
questions.
not to like testing them, not like we're doing a psychological thing, but just to see if they moved here, and they don't feel it's going as well, versus people who maybe didn't move here but think it's doing better. It would be kind of
Yeah.
an interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, John.
No, who's it? How much do you value the PYP program? Oh, and that's the graph on the other side.
Right.
You can see the bar graph. Next question was, how likely is it that your child will pursue an IB education after they graduate Dover School? 1 to 6, 6 being the most likely. All 20, so this question doesn't apply for everybody. This is really a parent's question. So all 29 parents and caregivers answered the question. 6 parents rated a 6, 4 parents rated a 5. So if you look at that as like being the highest ones, that's 10 people. 1 parent rated a 4, 1 parent rated a 3, which I kind of view as sort of neutral. So that's 2. And then 3 parents rated a 2 and 14 parents rated a 1. So that's about 17 there for the lower numbers. And I don't know, as we know, I think Long Trail School is really the only thing that offers it close by.
Many
So,
options,
yeah,
if any. For that.
yep,
Or maybe up in Littlebird.
right. And there's the bar graph there for that one. And the last question had asked for additional thoughts about the PYP program at Dover. And there were 25 comments total for the question. So out of, what we say, 39 for the total people that took it, not everybody commented. So I tried to group them together as best we could with the trends that we saw when the IB committee met. And so 8 people said they want to keep IB and were clear about why they think it's beneficial. 7 people said they want to get rid of IB and that it has a negative effect on the school. 3 people said no comment or NA. 4 people commented on the need for more parent and community information. So there were a couple comments about like, let's have a night where we learn about it. And 3 people commented on trusting the teachers and staff to know what's best for the school. Sorry, there's a typo there, that bothers me.
So can you tell
And
me?
there's one more.
Oh, yeah.
And then within some of those comments already accounted for on what I just read through, we saw trends of people comparing IB to what it used to be versus now, the cost of the program, district requirements getting in the way of IB, and wanting more of a commitment from the school.
So on these first 2, people who want to keep IB and people that want to get rid of it, you just said people. Do we know how many of those are parents versus others?
Yes, I could figure that out.
Could you?
Yeah.
I think
Yep.
that would be also interesting.
Is that the first question?
No, the last question. There's 8 people want to keep IB and we're clear about why it's beneficial, and 7 people want to get rid of IB and it has a negative effect on the school.
Yeah.
I was wondering how many of those are parents versus others? That was my question I'm asking.
Parents versus others, okay. I should have brought my computer.
Because like the question above, we have 6 parent, it was mainly just the parents. We
Yeah.
kept that to the parents. But
Yeah, but this was open
Right.
to everybody, yeah.
other than that, I'll open it up to the board for any questions or comments. I'll start in TV land. Kate or Eli?
I think in hindsight, one of the things we should have asked is like, is your did we ask like, is the like for the parents, like, do you have a student currently or rising up towards Dover School? Because we asked if they were a parent of a student, but where we sent it to all of River Valleys, they could have been a Wardsboro parent versus a Dover campus parent. So I was curious.
Like whether they had a future child, like the community members you're talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think we did ask that, no.
Yeah.
No, these were, I mean, yeah, this report is basically the questions, yeah.
Yeah, and no, that's on me too, because I also looked at that survey many times before we sent it out. So I was just thinking about that. So like, even though like Rich was asking about that breakdown of parents versus community, like we might not still get a full picture of the data based on that. Yeah, that metric. Yeah, I think it was really important to put something out there for the community and parents and see what was going on. So, all right. Thanks, Rich.
Okay, Eli?
No, thanks for collecting all that, but I think ultimately, is it even our decision or are we leaving it up to the community?
Well, we have kind of discussed that it would be something we'd want to have the community vote on because the community voted to implement it. The community
Yeah, that's what I thought.
has voted to support it, so I think it's up for the community to vote if it's going to go away.
Okay.
So you're good, Meredith? You were on.
I think that's kind of what I got from this. Like, it's good to have all this information, and now we need to, it's only 39 people, and if we don't bring it to the community, I'm gonna have someone coming up to me in 2 months being like, what happened to the AP program? So I think that a community session of some kind is necessary.
We also, though, sometimes only get 39 people come to vote on the budget, so that, or less. So this may have been a bigger cohort. So it's always hard. You never know. Are you all set then? Any other takeaways or any?
Any other takeaways? I felt like of the responses, there were a lot of people that wanted to keep the program. I also felt what it said at the end, that there were some people that commented that they really enjoyed the program. It used to be a great program, and it doesn't seem to be as robust as it used to be, or they weren't as into it as they were originally.
Okay. Dwight?
Yeah, I found it interesting that 12 people moved over to that program. I would never have guessed that. And I'm wondering if there are any, I'll just give it back to you, are there any surprises in this that you felt you didn't think you'd find, but that are in here, that surprised you?
I guess, not ever being a teacher here or the principal here, I think I was surprised at the amount of lack of community knowledge of IB,
Yeah.
of what it was. Like people, saying that they wanted more information.
Yeah.
But
In terms of.
So we've done a bad job of.
no, I'm not saying that.
No, I'm saying I'm wondering if we've done a bad job, and also, our focus was really hard on it for a while. It was all we talked about, and then when EL came in, the focus shifted. Plus, the staff that originally implemented it, a lot of them are now gone.
Yeah.
And when we tried to focus on hiring staff with IB background, and we weren't fortunate enough to be able to do that, so we didn't have the people that were strong in it. And I think that helps create just it's not being pushed as hard, I guess. I mean, and I know you're still doing the end of the year presentations and stuff, so there's a lot of parts of it that are still being done, but we also had COVID come up, and everything's changed since COVID. If COVID had not happened and we hadn't shut down for a while, would it have continued more? If we'd had more, for years, we never, our staff is really consistent. And it just, recently it's everywhere, staff is changing. Plus, when we started IB, if you look at the makeup of the staff, they all were very senior teachers and had been around for quite a while, and some of them were looking for something new or different or change. And I think now we're getting newer and younger staff in here again, and it's just part of the changeover, and it's not for everybody, and they didn't have the buy-in. They weren't here when we decided to bring it in, so I think that affects affects it. And then a lot of the parents have moved in and it wasn't something that they were involved in approving. So again, we kind of got it going, and then we just kind of thought it was going to run on its own, and maybe we should have paid more attention to it as board and administrator. We're also 3 administrators removed from it from the start, and I think I'm probably the only board member left that was here when we first started talking about it. So it's, there's been a lot of changes. So I think that's some of it, Dwight.
Yeah, and I think speaking of change, some people don't like change. even if you have it, like when we decided to put STEM or STEAM in, Wardsboro wasn't like you wanted it, but now if you ask the same people, they don't want to get rid of it.
Right, it's a different thing.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And we did talk about when you were on it originally with us, when we were planning the focus of the schools.
Yeah.
We talked about having IB, so there was another little push on IB at that time because we thought of doing IB in both schools, because one of the things, and Dwight was on the committee, we talked about, like Wardsboro didn't have a foreign language and Dover did. Well, Dover also had the IB, and that kind of fit in with foreign language. And then we didn't want to have 2 schools so close together with such close populations that we thought a second focus would protect us in the future from the state saying, look, you're right, we're only 2 miles apart from each other as a crow flies, and you have 2 buildings, that makes no sense. And we could say, yeah, but that one has STEAM and this one has IB. They're different. So, but again, that may not make a difference either. But that's a lot of historical stuff, and sometimes it's just something you want to watch on the History Channel, reading a book. So, are you censored?
I skipped that episode, that's it.
What, Bob?
I said I would skip that episode.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a great
I
episode.
feel like I just watched it.
Okay. So I think this is a lot of good information. This is the first time this has gone out. So Tracy, can we ask you and Francesca just to get these out to people? Can hopefully, the results, just so people can see it. And maybe at our next meeting, we'll have a discussion if there's anybody from the public. And I am going to break protocol, if it's okay with the board, because it's the board's approval. I'd just like to see the people that were here and just got this version and the review, if they have any comments on it, if we could just ask the people, not pontificate too long on it. But I have 2 other people, Valerie and Katrina joined us too, so I always give you people that are late a chance to speak under public, and then we'll go around if the board's okay with it. If nobody objects, we'll just, if anybody has any comments or takeaways from this, and I'd like to do it in another meeting, is give the public.
Can I just ask a point of order on this? Around the committee, is the committee done? Like, have they done what you want to do?
I think we need to decide how we're going to move on. I think that's going to be a charge.
So you're hoping to get some feedback that will help inform that?
Right.
Gotcha, okay.
So is everybody on board okay if we do that? Just see if anybody wants to comment. I see,
Definitely.
Meredith, are you good?
Yes.
Okay, so real quick, Valerie or Katrina, do you have anything for public when you weren't, or staff when you weren't, that I saw you joined us late?
No, I'm all set.
Thank you, Valerie. Katrina? Going once, going twice. We'll get back to her, she comes up. Okay, is there anybody, staff or public, that just heard the review we did on IB, on the survey, that would like to comment? Going once. Oh, Dale Sherman just joined us and somebody else dropped off. Going twice. Okay, why don't we do that? Why doesn't everybody think about it? Why don't we get the results out? Maybe it'll be in the newspaper or something, and then let's have any comments at the next meeting, and then we'll figure out where you can take the committee to next. Bermuda, Bahamas. Dale Sherman, you just joined us. Do you have anything for public or staff?
No, I'm all set.
Okay, thank you. I can't, when the board starts moving around, it really freaks Okay, so we really appreciate your time and effort. We appreciate the committee's efforts on this. And we'll definitely have something to bring forward to town meeting, or to school district meeting in April. So, Dover Storm, are you leaving us? Okay, it was nice seeing you.
Thanks for coming.
So Dover Storm water, I read it as Dover Storm, I thought you were gonna talk about the big snowstorm.
I missed it.
Oh. Tracy, I didn't get to go to that, did you, Meredith?
I did.
Okay, and did you go, were you here, Tracy?
The stormwater, yes.
Yeah, you guys wanna, I don't see Greg, so do you guys wanna just kinda give us the?
I
What?
learned so much. I actually went so I could understand because I felt like I just didn't understand what they were trying to accomplish. What do you think?
Well, go ahead.
What'd you learn?
Well, I learned how the roof, where the roof water goes, and that she's really looking at the parking lot water, but that we don't have a lot of standing water, so it didn't.
She said a lot of, oh, you have that? And oh, you have one of those? And oh, let me take a picture of this. And oh.
So you had fun.
There's some, that's what they're
It's
into.
like, yeah. So.
She said she was going to come back to us with a plan in
Yeah.
a few weeks, I think.
Yeah,
Or
she said she was like, I will need to do some drafting and I'll get back with you, and I feel like she said a few weeks.
Yeah, and it did seem like she was aiming for the trees, the only tree, like the
Yeah.
apple trees and the peach trees.
Well, then we can just plant some, we can dig them up and put them somewhere else, or plant some new ones and get some better
Have an
ones.
oasis in front of
Yeah.
I have no
A
idea.
fountain.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that's
that's what I'm thinking.
that's where everything drains down to, so that would make sense, unless you try to run it back over the
Yeah,
other side.
she also looked at the other side of that road.
Yeah.
Like the area in front, like in between.
Dover Hill Road in the park, and
Yeah, and that like.
Yeah. Whatever road,
Yeah, she
Woodsman
was
Road.
looking at that. And she looked at the other side of the driveway, like in the corner, past the basketball.
Unfortunately, we only own to
Oh.
Woodsman Road, we don't own,
So maybe she didn't look at that.
yeah.
I think
We
he was
own
just
on the
talking
other
about
side
the
of the, as
ditch.
you drive up. we
There's
own
a
it.
ditch
That's
there,
where,
though,
that's
where-
where our gutters come out.
Yeah,
It's like,
there's one on this side and one on this side of the road.
that
Yeah,
side.
that's what she was looking at. That.
But Greg was here too, right, and David?
Yes.
Greg had a family thing tonight, he couldn't.
No, that's fine, but just everything's, I mean, there wasn't anything like, oh my gosh, and,
A lot of
No,
O's
and
isn't
Dave-
bad. Was there a lot of-
Dave took us on the whole tour,
O's are right,
so
but-
he answered any questions she had too.
All right, nothing
Cool.
big,
Well,
nothing
thank you.
jumped out. Okay.
and then
From here.
it's up to you, Dwight, you're gonna give us an Act 73 update,
I didn't think, well, not much change. I think we can take this off for the time being, but
final report.
this might be the.
That is a link
I
to
thought
the
it-
report.
What's that?
That's a link to the report.
That's linked to the report? Okay, that's good. Yeah, not much has changed as far as I'm concerned. Maybe Bob might be better at if anything's changed since, I know December 1st was the deadline and the task force submitted the map, if you will, of their plan to move forward, and now it's in the hands of the legislature, and we'll see how it goes when they reconvene, whether or not they continue to act on what was said, or if they throw it all up in the air and start all over again. I think that's kind of the two options that they have. So we'll see. Really not much else to report, but the link's on the agenda. If anyone wants to see what that plan is about, I suggest you read it. I would recommend it. It's pretty interesting. It gives a lot of good advice for school districts and SUs on how to move forward, and gives some good info in there.
Yeah, I'll say that the three focus areas they came out with were voluntary consolidations only, nothing forced. The use of collaborative boards to do shared services, which RSU is already part of for starting July 1 for the new growth season. And sort of building up regional high schools with CTE centers so kids had access.
WSWSU.
Thank you, Bob. That's
Board
exactly
will
right.
seek Southeastern Vermont BOCES membership.
Yeah, they were the last one to join, and everyone joined.
So that's good.
It's a good thing, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
That's right.
yeah, those are the kind of three focus areas. So,
Yep.
but that doesn't mean anything because the legislature can do what they want.
Should be interesting.
Should
They usually do.
Indeed, well said. Understated, yes.
Fancy's back.
Ooh.
They're going back.
I just want everybody in TV land to know if you were here, there's plenty of cookies for you, but there may not be by the time the meeting's over. Tracy, thank you very much. They smell great. They taste great. And if I bet you if I put them by Bob, they'll disappear. But Bob, you get to.
It's probably better over there.
You and Heidi get to visit. So lead us down the path of budgeting.
Yeah, so I'll start off with sort of a basic overview in that the board had asked for, in essence, two separate budgets. One that was, I won't call it status quo, 'cause it's not a status quo budget, but it's I'm gonna call it a student needs budget. And a second one, that's budget A, and a second one, budget B, which is more based on some increased consolidation of services, is the best way to put it, between the two buildings, two campuses. We took into account that the enrollment projections that we've shared with you guys already, to try to estimate what programming could look like and based on this. And so the two administrators, and Heidi and I, spent quite a bit of time going through this. I'm not sure,
It's a high level.
it's very high level, yeah, and obviously there's no tax information or anything attached. I think the best place to start is maybe.
Well, how about let's do this because she's got packets. Why don't we start with the estimated 25 fund balance? Now I know this isn't audited, but this is over.
Yep.
So does it look like we have any money left over?
Yes, so your general fund looks like it's gonna have 500,000 that will be able to be put into the reserve fund. You will recall that you spent down some of your reserve fund for the roof and other projects. And so what you're down to prior to moving any funds over is 969,000 in your reserve fund. So I expect that the auditors are going to get me a report shortly and confirming 500,000 of surplus that could be moved into that fund. Otherwise, everything is looking good for there. If you want to look at where we are currently in the 26 fund balance statement, I put a little overview of some of the places where I think you're going to have unspent funds in the bottom left-hand corner.
Which are you looking at?
This one here, FY 26.
26, it says estimated fiscal year 26. Okay. So that 500 will obviously move down into your reserve fund, but that's where it is right now until the auditors give me the go-ahead on that. So that is a reduction of what you'll see in the ending balance, the expected ending balance. But there is, due to changes of personnel, I'm expecting about 150,000 unspent in the budgeted salaries, another 100,000 unspent in the benefits, and there seems to have been a drastic reduction of students out there. We're still waiting for a few tuition bills, but I think you're going to see probably 220 unspent in tuition. So at a high level look currently, I'm suggesting you're probably going to have a surplus again this year around 470,000.
About $500,000.
Yes.
Okay. But we can't get really excited because if we have 220 unspent in tuition and it's because of less students, that means we're going to get less money
It's
next
good
year.
and bad news,
Yeah.
Right.
You're right now.
So just so people understand that. But it also gives us some money that we don't have to raise money for reserves and for any, we have some money to play to help buy down the rate again to keep us out of it. So that's really good news. So thank you for the good news first, Heidi.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions on?
He's done presenting now. She always-
Moving on.
Right now she's going to make Bob and the administrators present. So hang on before you move on. Does anybody again remember the 25 is over? It's not audited, but it's probably close because all the bills should be in and all the bills should be paid. Remember the estimated 26. It could wind up all of a sudden 20 new students move in and she's coming to us and telling us that $470,000 potential surplus is now a deficit of 100,000 or something. So, but again, I mean, we're almost halfway through the school year, right? When's the actual, like January,
February is usually.
But usually there's not as big movements And once we get by the Christmas break, usually the movements are I've always seen the biggest movements between Christmas break and the beginning of the year. So hopefully keep our fingers crossed, it looks good. And I like to always say that it's not bad budgeting, but it's good administration and management. So Francesca and Tracy, good job on that, and good job hiding in your office. And Bob, you want a cookie?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Okay,
Appreciate that.
because that could be your reward. We made you bake them, but go ahead. Now, where are we going to go next?
I think we wanted to talk about the assessments,
Yeah, just so you
an overview of
the SU
the,
budget has already been approved by the board.
Yeah, well, okay, let's not do that.
Okay.
Because what we want to spend time with and what kind of we were here tonight
Okay.
for
Then
is
I
to
would-
talk about the budgeting in the buildings.
Yeah, okay.
can I
Okay.
do a quick overview of the
Sure.
tuition assessment,
Do
which
whatever
is in your packet?
Sure.
I did spend some time doing an analysis because I was trying to get a handle on what we were looking at for tuition for next year. And so based on the students currently enrolled in grades 6 through 11, I am seeing the numbers going down again. And so I'm seeing a reduction of tuition. And these are on estimated numbers. I increased the tuition by about 4%.
Not enough.
Just to give me an average on what potentially tuition might go up.
But again, that's why we can't even, we'll get more close on this when
yes, we will.
schools start.
Okay,
But remember, the state's projecting a 13% increase in school budgets. So, I mean, I think 4% is really low.
But they're also capped at their increase from year to year.
yeah.
Yeah, I know, but it's not 4%.
And the tuition will be announced, I'm assuming, within,
No, I think it's
Anytime now.
higher.
Is it higher?
What is the cap tuition increase?
I was gonna say
I
what
thought it
Bob
was
said was.
5, but I could be
Oh,
wrong.
okay, we should find that out
Yeah,
for sure.
I will.
Because what I would do is I would definitely cap these at the max.
Yeah, just to
Sure,
project.
I will do that.
Because again, I mean, it's always better when we get, and that's again why we don't vote a budget until later in the season, because then we play with real numbers versus, make-believe numbers.
For the most part, I just wanted you to see the numbers of students you're paying tuition for is
Well,
going down.
I know, but also that means our number of
Yes.
students is going down, and it means
Yes.
our income goes down. We only get income by students, we don't
is
get income from
Definitely
any
what
other
I'm trying
source.
to point out.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so.
All right,
go
so
ahead, Bob.
the summary sheet looks like this. This is sort of talks
Can you
about.
go back just one more sec?
Oh, question about
Just-
that?
Yeah, it's a couple. So what's the number down here, the 190, is this the lower right?
Yeah,
Is that accurate?
that's based on the students transitioning one grade.
Okay, because I thought it was lower based on what we talked about last.
Which
meeting.
number are you talking about?
Oh, there's the total number of students. I thought it was
198.
198. So that's accurate?
But remember, we've only been really looking at the elementary students.
Yeah,
Because those affect our budget
Okay.
on what we do in the buildings. We can't, we pay tuition no matter what.
So the numbers on this sheet are what would be anticipated for 27.
Okay,
Okay.
gotcha. And then, so a couple of things. So this little chart over here that's highlighted says average, the cost per, this is just like for information purposes only. Obviously, we don't have 50 students going 50,
Right, I
50.
highlight it because we don't have the actual numbers yet, so it's kind of my reminder that we need to finish this when I get the announced tuition.
Okay, so then you would adjust that based on actual
Yes.
numbers?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other thing is some of these, I wonder if it's, the mountain school no longer accepts middle schoolers, so I think we can take that out.
Okay,
And then I wonder, I looked through these schools and some of them are no longer, we can't send tuition from some of these schools. However, unless they're already
right,
converted, then you
right,
can,
so I
right?
didn't want to start deleting anything quite yet, especially.
Yes, you wouldn't be, but I'm wondering if you should highlight some of these schools, because almost half of them are no longer eligible, just so families, if they read this, they
Okay,
may think, well, we can go to any one of these.
Well, remember, this is just for
I
us to look
understand.
at, and it should,
Well, it goes out with the
nobody.
budget though, doesn't it?
No,
It goes in the,
This,
so
the real one will when we get closer to the budget.
well, I know, I'm just saying,
But-
if I want to adjust it a little bit, but that might
And
be
this
good
is
to point it
It's in
out.
the agenda.
Hmm?
It's linked in the agenda, so.
Right. Just
right,
point it
highlight
out.
the ones that future families can't choose, is what
Yeah,
you're
maybe
saying.
just to point it out. These are like legacy. I use that right. Yeah.
Good man. You're not gonna
Maybe
get
the
in
first time
trouble.
I said that. That's all I have.
Okay, Bob, that sheet that you were just showing, I don't seem to have that.
This one? With the budget packets, maybe?
There it is.
There it is,
There
right
it is,
there.
right there.
This
The
one,
last
oh, okay.
So this is sort of a summary page, if you will, again, high level, and the top third of it is really just sort of the assumptions, right? That are in here. The health insurance increases, the percent and the dollar amount that is in fact noted that the contract for union staff is in negotiations this year. And we need some numbers for non-union. The long-term weighted ADM number, at this point, the most recent one from last week, because that has not changed, is 361.
Right, 9-1, I do expect that number to go up,
You do?
because there is some students attending Twin Valley, and Twin Valley has not been able to successfully report
Oh,
some secondary students. I think there is as many as 9. So I talked to the AOE today, and I'm working with Sampson, but Sampson has been on it. They're just not showing
yeah,
up.
okay.
So I do expect that number to go up a little.
And then the yield is again, currently where they're estimating it at, but won't be determined until later. The excess spending threshold is listed here as well. And it's the statewide CLA adjustment, the assessments from the SU, transportation costs, and a couple other things as well. And so that gives you sort of the assumptions as you start looking at the two budgets. And so we have a budget A and a budget B. Any questions on the assumptions before we jump in?
Just the same question I had at the WC. The health insurance increase, if that's not the total number, that is the
New money.
increase in the actual, the cost of insurance at the end of the year.
That's the increase amount,
For
not the total cost.
Not the total cost.
Correct.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So I just want to make a quick point. I know it's not set in stone yet, but at the yield with the number of students we've lost, if everything else was the same, we're going to lose over $350,000 just because our numbers have dropped.
Yeah, it's tough.
So just so people understand that it's,
Yeah.
It's a huge impact.
it's
And in
a
fact,
big-
because of you mentioned the 12% average that was sort of projected from the state administration, that there's even rumblings that the yield could go down.
Yes,
Right,
because
so-
the ed fund is in a deficit
Yeah.
position.
And so
right, because
that-
they dumped a lot last year to buy the
Correct.
brakes.
Correct. And they're
So-
not getting as much revenue this year as they anticipated.
Even though their December 1st letter was very cheerful.
So I was noticing like on the, sorry, I'm catching up with the other page, but like on the student predictions, like for the seventh, like the rising seventh grade for FY27, it says 6. Like, but I'm pretty sure there's 11 sixth graders in that class right now, and I think only one of them is a Stratton kid. So I think that number is 10. So 4 kids at tuition is pretty impactful. So we might want to just double check like some of those with the schools.
Yeah, okay.
And again, let's not get hung up on the students.
I will, thank you,
'cause
Kate, I will definitely double check my
it-
numbers.
Yeah, we're definitely early in the season to worry about those.
It's true.
So go ahead then, Bob.
Ready
You
for
were,
Plan A?
yeah.
All right, so budget A again is sort of the student-based need one, the quote-unquote status quo. So I think there's a few reductions in here based on the declining enrollment. And Francesca is suggesting that we do not offer a pre-K at Wardsboro. Just the few numbers of students don't make it viable really. And so to rearrange the class configuration, you can see the fifth line down to have a K1, a 1, 2, a 3, 4, and a 5, 6. There'd be some savings in supplies for the pre-K, which is the number above it. And then the other reductions are just not feeling like the need for a full-time counselor. So reducing that to 2 days a week. And then I think the health instruction from the PE teacher is going to move to the nurse, and Francesca can correct me if I'm wrong. So that would allow them to reduce to 0.2.
Wait, what did you say? Where is that?
This is the reduced PE teacher from 0.4 FTE to 0.2 FTE. That's because the health instruction is
The second line down.
by somebody different.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was some pretty significant differences between the after-school programming cost between the two buildings. And so I think we're trying to adjust them so it's more equitable. And so there's a reduction there in Wardsboro as well.
Yeah, I'm just saying that like that the amount of programming has been really impactful to families at Wardsboro. And knowing what we spent on 2 weeks of summer programming, to look at that, like we should look at all of that. Okay.
Then in the Dover section, there's just a staffing change. It doesn't have any reduction in FTEs, but it does result in some savings. And Carol again the details of that, but it's a single person. And then the last line is because of the decreased numbers projection in the secondary, there's a decrease in enrollment, so that's kind of built in. So budget A comes in with a just over $600,000 reduction over last year's
Expenditure
line. So that's what we're looking at there for budget A. Any questions before we move on that one? Again, very high level.
I'm curious, like, so what does it mean, like, when the class configuration, there's a K1, but then also a 1-2? Like, how does that shake out for students?
Yeah, I'm gonna let Francesca jump in on that one.
Yeah, so I was trying to keep a viable number of kids in each grade, and I've worked in other schools that, especially at the early ages, to have more fluid movement between K and 2. Because you know, I can tell you, just knowing the needs of the kids in the building, we have some high flyer kids that could move quickly, and then we have some kids that just need repeat. And this, when I say repeat, I don't mean repeat a grade, but repeat some instruction. And this allows that flexibility without it being obvious. What we did in the other school was similar to what our MTSS process looks like, is every 8 weeks, we relook at the data and we look explicitly what skills the kids are moving forward with and are lagging. And so I think this model would give it that flexibility. So we're really looking at skill-based instruction as opposed to a grade level or an age level instruction. And the other piece that I haven't really teased out yet is just the level of support we might need as far as AST or special ed. Really hoping for the younger kids to be able to support as much as possible in the lower grades. And you know, give them that boost so that when they hit third grade, they're reading and they're gonna switch to that reading to learn as opposed to learning to read, if that makes sense.
That does. I really like that approach of doing a skills base and making sure that kids have what they need to move on to the next level. I think that's a really great idea. Thank you.
It's been a secret dream of mine to get away from grades, but
Well, we had that in the Dover building years ago, and then they made us go away from it. So I like how we keep going around and doing things again. Yeah.
Stick around long enough, it'll come around again.
Well, that'll be the third time then.
It's like the style of my clothes. All right, any other budget A questions?
So just to compare apples to apples, I'd love to take out, can you just give me a quick number? 476. Take out the secondary tuition, because it doesn't matter what we do anywhere, that's gone. I mean, no, if we had one building or we had 10 buildings, the secondary tuition is always going to be.
$130,200.
So you're looking at $130,000 reduction in the first one, and then the second one, you're looking at about 370-ish.
Hold on, just getting.
I had a really bad day today. I had to deal with Dwight.
You are looking at 371, 600.
That was close. Okay, go ahead, Bob.
All right.
Because I guess that's a
The other
standard.
one is it's the same either way. You got it. All right. So in budget B, which is a little more dramatic, but this was our challenge, was to figure out how to consolidate. What we came up with the concept of thinking about the younger kids being closest to home was to have 5th and 6th grade go to Dover. And that would allow for district reductions and I'm saying that purposefully because it's not necessarily building based, but one teacher and one math specialist could be reduced if you move those two to Dover. Further down, it's all related, so I'll come back to that. We would also at that point be able to reduce the council, because there'd be fewer kids, reduce the counselor further to 0.2 or 1 day a week. And we believe at that point, even though Dover would be gaining some kids, that we could combine that to have it be one person. So there'd be overall reduction of 1 counselor from current year. You with me on that?
Yep.
Okay. We would also have a reduction of 1 paraeducator. And this next one is actually a typo-ish misunderstanding.
Certainly.
Heidi and I weren't on the same page as Francesca on this one. Not anyone's fault, we just misunderstood. But this is actually this is a reduction in 0.5 of the principal, not the administrative assistant.
So that would be an additional 35,000 over what I have there.
So it puts you over 400.
So it's not 38,
It would be 73.
okay. And that adds what to the bottom line?
So the bottom line is 406,
Okay.
600.
There additionally could be reductions in half days for art, library, and music, which would be a total of 0.3 FTEs at 14 grand. There'd be an added cost. We don't know exactly what that is. We haven't really done a lot of formulation on that on the transportation side. But there's another piece that down below which we'll get into. On the Dover side, we said we'd merge the counselor, so you're talking about some reduction there as well. We would, again, because we're in the thinking about trying to get the biggest, more dramatic reduction in consolidation, there's a reduction of world language teacher by 0.2, because we believe that the remaining 0.2 would be sufficient. We just have to redesign how we're doing that instruction. The IB program we've listed there, we wrote the word possible because we know that's not within the control of this group per se, but we wanted to have that as a dollar amount listed. Music from a 0.3 to a 0.2, so savings of 1 FTE. And then we have an estimated dollar amount, $10,000, that we believe if we didn't have to run a high school run, we would actually save on overtime for our driver, thus saving us probably $10,000 a year, but obviously taking away that perk for families who are going, at least the families that are going to Brattleboro, which would be consistent with not providing it to anybody else either, wherever they choose to go.
We transport to Leland and Gray, and we transport to. Oh, you've got this under Dover, okay.
This is Dover side.
Yeah.
Dover side.
Okay.
So we understand that that's a hit, obviously, for families, but from what we understand, there's not a ton of people who ride that. So
A lot of people drive
And how
themselves.
many people? For the high school?
yeah, on the secondary
And
side,
how many are you talking, like
6?
6?
I would say less than 6 at times.
So what would happen to the kids that need to ride the bus?
So
but
the
don't?
bus would still, we could still work with West River to have the parents bring them to Newbrook. And they would have to get to town, they'd have to get to Brattleboro on the bus that takes the Career Center kids from Leland and Gray down.
Which is what they do now.
What they do now, what happens
just
now
get
is the
them to
bus
Newbrook,
just,
right.
right now the bus just brings them to Newbrook and meets the other bus and comes back, both in the morning and the afternoon. So it's that extra 2 trips.
So let's not get into the minutia.
Yep, that was
Let's
just
I mean, this is kind of broad strokes.
Yep, very
so-
high level, yeah.
Yeah, and because also, again, we need to, any savings there, you're gonna have an added cost of getting the fifth and sixth
that's
grade.
that's why we thought about that, because the additional cost for fifth and sixth graders coming here, you might need that overtime to do that. So we didn't want to double it. We just wanted to find another way to put that in. So that's
Another question?
Yeah.
As far as the reduction in time for the math specialist, the art, the music, I can't tell if the PE was on this, and the Spanish teacher, are we gonna lose? First of all, I feel like they're not here very much already, so what are we talking about?
One full day for each of them.
Right. So right now, we have a full day of art, a day and a half of music, 2 days of Spanish, 2 days of PE, 1 day of library. So we would reduce it to 1 day of Spanish, 1 day of music, 1 day of art, 1 day of library, and keep the 2 days of PE because it's required.
So how does that affect the students? Like students that are getting this much in Spanish right now would get what are we talking? Like, are they still gonna get the same amount of time with the teacher?
Well, no, the teachers hear less.
It would be, instead of being 2 times a week for 40 minutes, it would be 1 time a week for 40 minutes.
Okay.
What was the reason?
Well, hang on, because you make a good point. So
I just want to like.
No,
these
it
numbers
gets
don't
it gets really confusing.
Yeah.
So a full-time person is a 1 FTE.
Right.
That means they're here 5 days a week for the full day. So every 1 point in that reduction is half a day. So if you have somebody that's here a 0.5, they're here 2.5 days a week. It may be that they're here half a day every day. That's, whatever the administration can work out. Because a lot of people get really confused by that. So if I reduce something from a 0.2 to a 0.3, I've reduced half a day.
I guess I'm just more interested. I'm less interested in I want to make sure that we can retain the teachers, but I'm more interested in what that actually means for student to teacher time.
It means that there's a half day less in the building. So
right, but I don't know how much time they spend with the students as opposed to I don't know if you're going to reduce their downtime or if you're going to reduce.
Well, you can't. You contractually you have to give them so much downtime, but it's percentage. So when you reduce them by half a day, that whole half day they're not spending the entire half a day with the student anyways.
Right.
But there is a reduction. But again, we can get into the specifics on that later. It all has to do with scheduling because I have the same concern. What does it mean are we going to be able to keep staff? Is there going to be staff enough who wants to work instead of working 3 days a week to work 2.5 days a week? So there's a lot of other things. Let's just look at the broad picture because we're not making any decisions right now. We've just asked them to give us what it looks like. So one of the things I'd like to see, if you could, I think that would help people. Can you model these two so that you could say, Tracy, you did a really good thing there. You said it's instead of 1 40-minute, 2 40-minute, it's one.
So list them and then maybe the impact to kids and show what
because
that would look like. Something like
yes.
that.
I understand how much time they're here. I just don't want them to not have any, obviously not have any. I wasn't saying we'll just make them go from student to student. I don't know what their day looks like.
Because the other thing is in Wardsboro, if you have a reduction, but you've got different grade groupings, they might have the same amount of time. It's just there may be more students in that. And, maybe we have to, on the language arts, maybe if we're reducing it, maybe we have to do a couple grades together for the language, for the specials programs. I mean, so can we, and I don't know if you can do that or not. I don't know if you can.
I think we can come up with a list of what the impacts are and what it would look like very generally. But again, it's going to be high level because we won't have schedules and all that. But
because remember, we need to make decisions based on students, not on just dollars and cents.
Yep.
And one of the reasons we asked for this was not only just because of dollars and cents, we were also asking about it because there's some inequities in the one building. You have single grades, even if there's less students than in a double grade in the other building. So that's kind of what we want to look at too. So,
and I think, and one of the things about this, so the 5th and 6th grade is moving. it feels counterintuitive to a certain degree because that's where the higher numbers are right now in Wardsboro. But moving the younger kids makes less sense. So, you know what I mean? Like from a family standpoint. So it was really, the only way to really consolidate those kinds of services would be to do it with the older kids, even though what that will do is drop Wardsboro's enrollment in Wardsboro more dramatically, which is why some of the reductions in Wardsboro kind of align with that dramatic drop in enrollment.
So can we just, for like, again, high level before we get into the nitty gritty, Plan A shows a $130,000 reduction. Plan B, although we don't have the transportation, so if let's just wipe out that 10,000 for now in transportation, figuring that it's going to be close, but because of the misunderstanding on the administrative person, it's 406,000, right?
Or 390.
Okay.
You take up the transportation,
Right,
396.
Right. So 396.
Yep.
So there is a substantial cost savings in between the two.
Yeah.
What about one of the things we've heard from some people anecdotally is that the smaller, when you only have such a small group in a class, that it becomes difficult for the student to really grow, not so much educationally, but
the social side of it. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Social.
Yeah, so I think the savings is, if you look at the savings between the two, it's what is it, $260,000. So it's not huge. I mean, it's a lot of money. I wish I had that in my back pocket right now, but it's not like $1 million or $10 million that sometimes people throw out there.
Yep.
So I think if we can maybe kind of hone down on that just a little bit so we can look at that. But also, I think along with what Meredith was asking, it would be kind of interesting to see what the classes would look like if you were to do that, and how much time we add to one school because they got to get from that school to here. And could we do something where maybe there's some free time or something in the early on and later so that they can do the transportation. So I think there's a few other things that maybe you could do for us.
You want a little more detail of what that would look like.
Right,
For
like
kids,
what a school day would
kids'
look
day
like
would
for
look
a child from Wardsboro versus a child from Dover that's got to move, and what it looks like with these decreases in both plans. And it doesn't have, like, again, an exact schedule, but Tracy's thing was really good, Instead of 2 40-minute classes, they get one. That looks pretty substantial. And maybe we want to keep a little bit, maybe we want to make some adjustments. But I think if we could have that, and I'm going to go around and ask everybody else their thoughts real quick, but I think those kind of things could really help us so that we're making student-based decisions too.
You also said something about, where is it? You said that there's an addition for transportation for the 5th and 6th grades, but you said that we had to.
No, I would say it was kind of a wash because they took 10,000 out for high school, so we want to look at that too.
Okay. The
transportation thing, because if a child can't get to school, it doesn't do them any good to have a school.
Right.
Yeah, but anybody at Wardsboro.
But again,
continue on the Leland and Gray.
yeah, there was one time when we looked at something because if every student went to Leland and Gray, the bus wasn't big enough. But when we looked at actual numbers, it was like a third of the students that could have ridden the bus were actually riding the bus. So wait, hang on a second. Okay, so if you can work on that for us, this is a really good first draft. And I'd like to see, I'm hoping at the next, now that we've kind of thrown this out there, we're hoping that at our next couple meetings, the one in Wardsboro, we're going to ask the public to give us input. And we're going to ask that to be moderated by our school district moderator, just so we as a group can listen and not have to run the meeting. So I'm going to go to you, Eli, first, sir. Any comments, thoughts, anything else you would like to have to help you digest this information?
Not right now, thanks.
Okay, Kate?
I think this was a really good first draft. I like the budget considerations document and like the comparison of the two different things. I think it's a lot to digest, and I think we definitely have to like stick with our student-centered mindset and kind of keep that as our core, and then make sure that the community gets involved in the budget or in this discussion on what type of levels of education we want to provide for our community, and all of that. And I definitely, I would hate to see any high schooler lose transportation who may need it. So that worries me. But I think this is a really great first draft, and I'm like curious on what direction we might head in. And if you told me 6 years ago that I'd look at ever, consolidating the two buildings, I don't think I would have imagined this, but yeah, I think that we're moving. It worries me where our enrollment is right now and where it's headed. So I like the idea of doing some proactive steps to making our school district more cohesive together.
Thank you, Kate. Meredith, any other information that you would like to see? Any other?
I don't think so, not right now.
Okay, and remember, this is kind of just presented to us today, so when you think of something during the next couple weeks over the holidays, when you're bored at Christmas,
When I'm just
doing
perusing
nothing,
the budget.
yeah, just make sure you send me the email so we can
Okay.
put it all together. Dwight, go ahead.
Thanks. A few things, I'm trying to take some notes here. Was there a reason you didn't continue to do the taking the pre-K out for budget B? It seemed like it was.
Yeah, actually, budget, I should have said this, budget B
It
is,
says incorporates reductions.
incorporates
Oh,
all
incorporates.
reductions in budget
It's
as
already in
well.
Oh, budget B
So is
includes
that plus
budget A?
that?
Yes.
Oh, so actually, then we need to add the 130 to the
Oh.
396.
Yes, that is true.
Oh,
So
no, the
think-
406, isn't it?
well, we
We
did
took
the
the
10
10,000
for
out.
the
Yeah, you had to add them.
transportation.
Because
396?
Yes,
You have
396.
to add it's that plus that.
Right. So actually, I lied. So it's closer to
A million?
It's over $500,000.
Yes.
It's
Okay.
520, right?
26.
Yeah.
526?
Yeah.
Okay.
All
Good,
right.
good catch, Dwight.
That wasn't what I was
Yay.
going for, but okay. The other one was, obviously, sending the fifth and sixth graders probably scares a lot of people, but I want to also point out that Act 73 is the part of it that's in place as minimum class sizes. And so this, even if people don't like this, we may have to maybe forced to do this at some point because we don't meet,
Like this good-
we don't meet the classroom sizes. Even combined, we're right on the edge.
But if we combine, if we
It could really
did
help
do
us.
it, then it would make, they can't make us do.
Right, you can't only do so much, right?
Okay.
Have a bit. And then, so.
But wait, Bob, can you just compare that for us?
Well, what I was gonna say is a little bit counter to that, because we don't know what the rules are for that, and
In terms of being
well,
rural.
the small but by necessity
Yeah, right.
piece can
That report comes out on
allow you
Wednesday.
to opt out of, not opt out of, but it basically excuses you from the
Yeah,
class size minimum.
I was thinking
So
we would meet that.
when we know those rules, we will better know whether or not we're situated to even have it be a problem.
Being rural,
Oh,
a certain
really?
level of
Yeah.
rural, but they haven't defined it yet.
Yeah,
Small by necessity.
yeah. So
I
if,
didn't know if they were gonna, it seemed like that whole idea was thrown around, but never really.
yeah, no, it's part of the law, and it's actually the state board has developed the rules, and the rules are supposed to be implemented by August, even though the thing is supposed to take effect in September. But that's the law, that's not, so I've been advising boards to not sweat that too much, especially in year one, because we don't know.
Yeah.
And since we get our long-term weighted students are all weighted for rurality, like, it seems likely that could work in our favor in that situation. So I wouldn't be super dramatic about the
Yeah, I just want to
process.
point it out that it could be,
It
could affect us.
Yeah, if that waiver opportunity didn't exist, we would be in trouble, yes.
Yeah.
So that gets presented and voted on Wednesday
Oh, really?
by the board, the state board.
So there's already a draft of those?
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but yes, there is a draft that was completed and it's gonna be presented to us and I will get you a copy as soon as I see it.
Love to
What's
see
gonna
it.
be voted on exactly?
By the state board is gonna be that the committee was a state board committee, the rural by necessity study report that has to go to the legislature for
Okay.
them to look at, to enact their law, their rules, I'm sorry.
Excellent. I didn't realize it was happening that quickly, Rich.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just the first step too. It's
Sure.
it's just like this. It's a report that goes, and then they do what they want with it.
Gotcha. Okay.
I have two more things. It's
Yeah,
okay.
no, it's good.
It always makes me nervous when I see reductions in art, library, music. They seem like the first ones to go. But I would think, obviously, if you have a program, and this is getting back to what Rich and Kate were saying, keeping the kids in mind. I would think actually, if we're saving money, we may actually want to consider increasing some of these programs because we'll have more kids, in the Dover school, and we'll have more money in the budget. Right? Like Rich was saying earlier, let's not cut things just to cut them. I mean, if we're saving money in other areas, maybe it's an opportunity to increase some of those areas rather than decrease them. And let's have a more robust art, library, music program. I'm just throwing it out there. Obviously, you guys are taking that
Maybe
into
draw
consideration.
more students to it.
Yeah, I mean, we've got more kids. I'm
You're
just
gonna
throwing
have, yeah, but also think about it. If you're gonna have more kids in the class, so where maybe you're reducing art by a few hours.
Yeah.
They were doing an hour with the class in Dover and an hour in the class in the Wardsboro building. Well, now they can do an hour. It's one class.
Right.
So that's why I think the schedule's going to help us see that.
Yeah, that would help. I mean, certainly the kids that are there now, we don't want to reduce what they're receiving. The kids, like what Meredith was saying as well.
What's that, Bob?
I was just saying, we're meeting tomorrow. Like, can you get that done by tomorrow?
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
no, she's going to have it done before she leaves. She's been
She's
working on
on
it,
it right now? Okay.
Yeah.
along with making our cookies.
So I don't know, just as a thought, I know you guys are doing everything you can to make sure everyone's getting a high level education. So other than that, the only thing to go back to, Rich, we talked about earlier in the year was, we had a committee set up to kind of review some different options, but I know with Act 73 that kind of went out the wayside, and it's always, I always get kind of a little frustrated just looking at numbers and savings. I like to see a bigger picture. There's a lot more involved than just cost savings.
And that's what we're asking them to
Well,
do.
yeah, I know, but it also is during budget season and we can have more people involved. Obviously, you want to maybe have a town meeting or something, but committees, it might be a consideration.
We're also asking the public to come in and weigh in before the meeting
I understand that.
at the
but
next two
I understand.
meetings.
So we did have a committee set up that we decided not to do, and that might be an option to consider as well. That's all I got.
Okay, any thoughts from you all? Francesca, to you too? She looks blurry. I think I've had too much of her.
You're muted.
Sorry, I had a little emergency here that I had to walk away from.
So any comments? I don't know how much of that all you heard, but just we're gonna bring it. We're gonna try to do these moderated meetings. We're gonna review these for the next couple meetings. We've also asked the administration to give us some sample budgets or sample school schedules of what it's gonna look like if we enact A and B in the buildings. So I just didn't know if you had any other comments or you'd like to digest it too. I know you had a little bit, you and Heidi and Tracy had some involvement early on, so it's a little bit more open, or you've seen it more and you've had some time to think about it. So just asking if you had any comments.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to see the projected enrollments and how best to meet the kids' needs. And, you did mention that it's tough when the classes get really small. But I know the board tasked us with this and not wanting to move the younger kids. And as Bob said, the older population is our big numbers. I just want to make sure that we give the kids and the community, as much information as we have so that they can make an informed decision because it's their kids. And yeah, it's a hard process to go through, but I think we have to go through it.
Thank you. Tracy, I'm not putting you on the spot. You can say no comment.
No, I just a suggestion. Francesca and I go to the same professional development and which was last week, and we it's with Jay Nichols, who's the executive director of the VPA. But our last week was about budgets, and he it was the director of finance for, I believe, Essex, whatever, he's done it for a number of years. And we talked a lot about how our situation isn't us. I mean, it's happening everywhere across Vermont. And he said one of the things that he's had a lot of success with is having a captive audience of community members and parents that matter. So like trying to schedule some kind of budget talk like after a concert, and, you know, provide childcare for your for the students, and so that principals and board members and the director of finance, you know, have the people that matter the most, which is the parents with children that are in these buildings, and you have a captive audience. So something to consider, like.
We try to offer them cookies.
I know. But like
I think
6
it's a good
o'clock
idea.
on a Monday night for anybody with a kid under the age of, you know, 6 is the witching hour. And so like if we were able to give them a time to come and kind of coordinate it with something that they were already coming here for, and, you know, give them all this great information and present it in a way that was like, we want to know, we want to do what's best for your kids, and your, you know, your voice matters. So just a thought. He's had a lot of success with it. He suggested we all give it a go.
Cool. Go ahead, Heidi.
I just wanted to point out one thing which nobody has brought up, and maybe a moot point, and I know that Wardsboro was like this prior to me taking this position, but one of the reasons I think I misunderstood and put down the administrative assistant reduction is because I think we need to think about what that entails if the principal is only part-time. I was thinking it would make more sense to have a part-time administrative assistant, but I understand the savings is in the principal. I'm wondering if you pay a teacher to be a lead with a stipend, like who is dealing with any issues or emergencies that come up when a principal is only in the building part-time.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to put that out for just processing.
Did we only have it where there was, the principal was also a teacher, so they were always there?
That's
Yeah.
what we had previously, yep. It was a half principal, half AST.
We had that in this building for years. We had a 0.4 principal with a top 0.6 of the time. So how many days is that if they're 0.6?
5.
3.
Oh, I
Point
thought you said
six.
0.6 plus 0.4.
Oh, yeah, no, they're full-time, sorry.
Just wanted to.
Yeah, and again, remember, and I want to stress this to everybody, none of this could happen, or all of this could happen, or there could be something totally different. And as Dwight said, there could be Act, what was it, 76 we're on now? We may have Act 98 and 3/4, and it may be that, you have to have 5,000 students in a building, or we can't have a school, it's really preliminary, but we want to get this out early
All
instead
those
of.
kids, bring them in.
Right, I'm just
It'd be
for process.
Did
Fair
something
state?
get knocked in the sound in the room? You guys all sound further away. I don't know if it's just me or if it's.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you guys, but it sounds further out.
Must be the technology doesn't like us. We're trying to save.
That makes total sense. I can. Yeah, that tracks.
Do you is there something with the sound over there?
Not plugged in.
Maybe this one.
Eli, are you
This one's
hearing
not
the
plugged
same
in.
thing, or does it sound fine to you? It's just me.
Oh no, now it
That's
sounds
better.
totally
Can you hear us
different. Do we
better?
sound better?
It sounds better now.
Okay, he
Yeah.
just did something because you guys are louder too.
We
I
we
can
were
hear
like,
you close.
What'd you find, Mr. TV
We're-
man?
Is that better?
The connection came on.
the
Yeah.
connection was undone.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
No
So
worries.
so
Start over.
Bob, you get the last go on this.
On these presentations?
No comments.
Oh, comments. I have no comment this time. I think the principals and I will meet tomorrow and start thinking about what that next step looks like.
Okay, so I just wanted, I had, Kate said earlier, we did get an email, and this went to Francesca and to myself and Kate, and it's, I'm not going to read it word for word. It's a parent, and they're supportive of exploring options. They have reviewed the budget considerations document. And, moving both 5th and 6th grades would drastically reduce the WES student population, which is already set to decrease by 50% due to graduation, Jamaica students leaving, and results in very small class sizes, as there are likely to be only 19 K-4 students at Wardsboro next year. The least disruptive change to Wardsboro would be to move the K class to Dover, as it will consist of a single student. Coupled with eliminating pre-K, this would drop 3 grades from the structure and a full-time teacher. And I'm going to give you this when I'm done with it, just to look at. And again, we'll read this when we do comments next time. Pardon?
Nothing, I just.
Oh. So anyways, and then transportation costs with 1 student's less than 2 students. So there's some other thoughts. Eliminate pre-K if older students must be moved. Consider moving just to 6th grade. It is a middle school level. It would make the most sense to be a single grade. There's also, it would give Wardsboro 3 decent sized classes in 1, 2, 3, 4, K1, 2, 3, and 4, 5. And only 1 class of students currently at Wardsboro involves 5 students to be affected. There are also 130 in reductions from budget A, and the total, if this is included, the total saving if all reductions are implemented would be almost $1 million. I don't get that. And just one of the things they said is if you do move 5th and 6th grade, please consider requesting to, they would consider requesting moving a younger student to the Dover building as well, for it would be just save them, some
siblings,
logistics. Yeah. And so I don't want to name the person yet, because they may come later at a date. I also had another person who was a former parent and just also mentioned, and I don't know if people have seen it, and Bob, you may have, and I forget what they call it, a desert or something, but when
desert.
We're not looking at closing the Wardsboro building completely, but they're worried about closing the Wardsboro building completely because there's a whole swath of area that doesn't have a school, especially with the Jamaica school being closed. And then they're making a turn a little bit because then they're going through Somerset and down into Wyndham Southwest.
Well, from Wyndham and Jamaica, Wynn Hall, Stratton already don't have public schools. Throw in, if you threw in Wardsboro as well, it is a pretty big area.
Pretty big swath. So those are a couple considerations from people who couldn't be here tonight but asked us to. So, and then I would just ask that you scan that without the names to just give to the board.
Oh, sure.
So that it could be part of the minutes, and then Meredith can have it. So please, everybody who's here, if you I believe that all the paperwork was available online with the agenda. If you have any comments, please send it to Bob's office, the WCSU office, and then you can share it with us. And please tell people that what our plan is, and we're going to discuss it a little bit at the next meeting, next meeting time. But we plan to probably start our meetings in. For maybe to Tracy's point, maybe we could start at 5. At least have the 5 to 6 so that parents know that that's a time they can come. And Tracy promises to cook cookies for 150 people, maybe. But maybe we can schedule a concert for 4:30.
You will not have any. You won't have half the people there because they have to work.
Okay, but anyways, let's look into that and make sure. And so that's January. Maybe when we get closer, we can kind of put some things together. We could schedule, maybe do something where we could. We've done it before in the past, where we've tried to make arrangements to have something for students available, so parents can come if they want to come live. So yeah. Is there anything else on budget? So you guys are going to refine some of this stuff. We'll have maybe better numbers. I wouldn't worry about secondary yet. Wait till after January.
I was going to ask you, what exactly do you want? Just mainly descriptions and what you're looking at?
Yeah, just the elementary, just the buildings that we control.
Okay.
For now, because again, tuition when we get into budgeting closer to finalizing a budget, then we'll look at the actual numbers like Dwight said. we may have a better count on students. There may have been some families that moved in and out, and we'll also have some tuition numbers because most schools, I mean, Leland and Gray gets their budget ready by January. So we'll have a real number for them. And
We're setting tuitions in January.
Setting tuition and, yes. Well, yes, it is in January, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah, we always get them, we always have them by February 1st because we used to,
Yeah.
when we met in March, on the first Tuesday in March, we would always, on town meeting day, have a whole bunch of numbers to recommend changes because we had real tuition numbers. In some years, it was a pretty big swing from what we thought, and usually it was swing up, not a swing down. Okay, I think we've covered old business. Everybody good with old business? Superintendent's update. Bob, you supplied us with your cabinet report as usual. Thank you. Are there any, other than what's on the cabinet report, do you have anything for us?
No, I forwarded out the report, and it's linked in your agenda as well from the task force, and I also forwarded out the webinar that the VSBA did on the December 1st letter, which is an hour long, but it's, if you're not super familiar with the mechanization of how this all works, it's actually pretty informative. I, even after a few years of doing this, watched it and learned some stuff myself, so I would recommend that. And I sent it out a week or two ago, I think. Yeah, I think that's really all I have to report at this time. Yeah.
Okay, does anybody have any questions or they want to play stump the superintendent? Kate or Eli? No, they're both shaking their head. Oh, you good, Eli? Thank you. Meredith?
I'm good.
I'll say.
Gosh, they're letting you off easy today, Bob.
Very good.
Francesca, the away team's up to bat.
All right. Well, as Tracy mentioned, her and I and another member of the Wyndham Central staff is attending a PD up in Montpelier once a month. So we're learning lots of stuff about leading schools in Vermont. So that's been super interesting. We also, my staff, engage in some PD coaching sessions with Ken Cranberg. He's a PBIS coach and a BEST coach to help us implement some strategies in our building. What else? Tracy and I are piloting a platform for our learning walks, which has been very interesting. I think we're both focusing on different criterias, but it's a nice process to be able to walk through classrooms and spend about 10 minutes just looking for specific things. And I've already seen improvement in those areas. So that's been a good call. What else? Oh, the dentist was in our building for 2 days. I think they serviced about a third of our children with cleanings and whatnot. And then we had 2 6th grade students present to the Rotary, the Deerfield Valley Rotary, to thank them for helping us fund our circus program every year. So that was a good learning experience for them. They were pretty nervous about standing up in front of everybody, but I hear they did a really good job. And finally, we celebrated our 67th day of school. And I don't know if you guys know the cultural trend with 6-7, but it was pretty hilarious. The kids didn't know anything about it, and the adults really had a good time with that. So that was a good, silly way to break up our week. And other than that, things are plugging along over in Wardsboro.
How's your steam going?
Steam's going good. We're starting the foundation work for our new project, Art Electric. So the older kids, I think, are starting to code, but there's a lot of prep work to go into it. Because it's a pretty long project. It lasts a few months. So yeah, that's going.
Okay, so does anybody have any questions for Francesca? See head shaking. No, you guys all set? Meredith?
I'm good. I think, we can talk about it later. I'm
Okay,
good.
so Tracy, with your Red Sox shirt, is that because you're the home team? You got your home team
Spirit Week
shirt?
this week, so that's a big to do here at Dover School. You know, we try to do one before each break. We didn't do Thanksgiving, so it was a lot going on that week. So yeah, we're in the midst of Spirit Week. We've got some things planned. Our community feast last week was amazing. We had well over 200 people in our tiny little cafegimatorium. Kathleen and Dave made a wonderful lunch. And then we ended up with an early dismissal because we were in the middle of a snowstorm. So that was kind of great. Kids came, parents came, they got to eat together, and then they went home.
What day was that?
Wednesday.
Oh.
Yeah, good.
You kicked us out.
I did. I said.
You tried to help and she kicked us out.
Yeah, I did. I said, get home safe. The kids are super excited for Friday this week. The Dover School Club has taken over our winter crafts, which is a long-standing tradition here at Dover School, where we spend a morning doing all sorts of fun crafts. It's a lot for me because it's messy, but that's okay.
Everything's going to be glitter. Every project is going to include glitter.
Which gives me heart palpitations, but that's all right. But the teachers are super grateful that was one less thing that they had to do. One of the great things about the Dover School Club is they try to do, they try to help us, not just monetarily, but like with things that are best for kids. That it's just wonderful that there's a whole group of parents out there that just come in and just do fun things with our kids. It's lovely.
So if anyone wants to come and do a craft on Friday, can you up?
Well, I missed the dinner because of the weather. I was like, but crafting is, it's not
It's right up your alley.
But glitter is definitely not my thing.
We actually are not having any glitter.
Good.
Well, yeah, wasn't it going in?
We're going to put it into the glue and mix the glue.
Contained glue.
Yes.
So the glue would be all over the place instead of the glitter. Good.
But it doesn't go everywhere. Glitter just like ends up staying with you for life. Once it gets on something, it like
All the things I
it
missed
gets
in
it's
school.
like into your toothbrush when you get home later.
Somebody pranked me one year. The person puts them in my drawer of my desk. It was forever.
No, see, that's something I would have done in high school.
I'm sure. Maybe it was you, Rich.
Could have been. Tell you sometime about the four-wheeling trip. Any questions for Tracy? Anybody want to play Stump the Tracy? Stump the home team. I think you guys knocked it out of the park. So good job.
Fun. Full circle with that analogy.
Yeah, we're good. Okay, the most important thing we always do, we spend Heidi's monies. Approved financials, there was two of them. One was pretty easy, $117. The other one, not so much, $211,000 to $307.65. Go ahead, Kate. You gotta unmute yourself, Kate, sorry.
Muted.
Darn.
I'm so new to the Zoom technology. I so moved in the amounts that Rich just read. Did you read both amounts?
I did.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mary. So we have a motion to approve pay order 32 in the amount of $117 for the P cards. Now what you think? And number 33 in the amount of $211,307.65. Is there any discussion? Stop laughing, Bob. You're making me nervous. Okay, no discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. It is, yay! Approved financials. Minutes of the 12/1/2025, the second to last 2025 minutes that Meredith is going to do for River Valleys. Is there any corrections, comments? Hearing none, I will accept they'll be approved by unanimous consent or no dissent. Correspondence, I have none. The only thing I had, we did read under the budget presentation. I want to just skip executive session for a minute because we do have the next meeting January 5th in Wardsboro. Francesca, do you think we could do something could we get the bigger room set up with some chairs and if we were to start at 5 and again, I was thinking if we did 5 to 6 and we could just even if it's not moderated, if I can't get Sarah, at least it would be a chance for public to speak about the budget, and we'll have you guys maybe do your presentation a little more refined.
So the refined version of what we did tonight would go, and then there'd be public questions and comments.
Right, and we'll just preface it with it's not a done deal, it's a discussion. We don't know, but I think also that would be really important are those things that like Meredith and I and Dwight brought up, some sample schedules, we're not gonna have all the answers, but we'll give everybody some time to get started, and then we can refine from there for the one in Dover. And then what we'll do is we'll start getting more into budgets in February, and then we'll also make sure that we have, allow a lot of time for comments.
So from the actual budget document section, nothing needs to change on what I gave you guys.
Let's not worry about secondary students. Let's not worry about secondary tuition. Let's focus on the elementary buildings. So is everybody good with that? Okay.
So 5
Yes.
p.m. on January 5th?
Yeah, is that good with everybody? And Francesca, you think you can get us set up? Okay.
We'll make it work.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we'll warn the public session for 5 o'clock, and we'll warn to start the regular board meeting right after the public session. So if nobody shows up and we're out of, at 5:05, they've done their stuff and nobody's got any questions, we could start the board meeting. That way we're not keeping people. Does that work for everybody? Okay, cool. I think we covered all that. We covered this. Yes, I think we're ready to move into executive session. If I could get a couple motions. Thank you.
I move to find that premature general public knowledge would clearly place the public body or person involved at a substantial disadvantage.
Meredith, you good with a second?
Second.
Okay, so we had a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Was that one of your kids? Remember, they can't hear this.
Right.
Okay, it appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. It is. Kate?
I move to enter executive session to discuss contract and labor negotiations under 1 BSA 313 1B.
Second.
Thank you, Meredith. Seconded. So we have a motion by Kate, a second by Meredith. Is there any discussion on that one? Kate moved. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. It is. So at 8:40 p.m. we're going to move into executive session. Okay, so we just had a motion and a second to come out of executive session around 9:05, Meredith.
Yep.
And Bob has taken the information, and we'll talk to our attorney and get back to us. So our next meeting is January 6th at 5 p.m.
It's January 5th.
January 5th, 5 p.m. in Wardsboro. Make sure, can you, since you're over that way, when Eli, just check and see what she needs for help to get set up and stuff?
That's those guys. They're in the school, right?
Yeah. Eli, can you just check, and if you need help, if she needs help getting anything set up, and just let Dwight know, so we don't put all the burden
I don't
on
think I
them.
have Dwight's phone number, actually, but
Okay, I'll give it to you. We'll email it to you.
Yeah.
Okay, if nothing else, can I entertain a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, I give it to Kate, second by Eli. Eli, I haven't called you Levi yet.
Nope. Almost made it.
So, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. It is. Thank you, everybody. Have a great Christmas.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best.
Nice
Thank
job.
you.
you too.